Part 1, Chapter 1. Monday, September 13th, 1920. 12-year-old Stanley William Pulchalski runs for his life along a dusty country road. His mother's pleas for him to fetch the sheriff echo through his mind. How did she escape her bindings? Who are these men? And what did they want with Papa? The rhythmic pounding of his boots against the road are the only sounds now. His throat is raw from gasping icy winds. Sweat and tears blur his vision. His heart pounds. Excruciating spasms cramp his calves and thighs, causing him to stumble and limp. He pushes on until the sheriff's office comes into view, revealed by early morning sunlight. He presses his hand against a painful cramp in his side, stopping only long enough to catch his breath. With hands braced on his knees, he lifts his eyes towards his destination. Heaving a final breath, he rushes to the entrance and bursts through the door. 5 days earlier. The morn is clear and cool in Southington, Ohio. The Pulchalski farm is a splendid, robust farm. Acres of crops are bathed in sunlight. Corn, cabbage, watermelon, and more, ready for harvest. Cattle and horses graze in lush, grassy fields. A large orchard produces red plump apples, cherries, peaches, and green crabapples. A small field of strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries grow wildly behind the family farmhouse. Stanley sits on a sturdy wooden fence in faded, worn overalls. Both knees are exposed from shredded holes in the denim. The sleeves to his grungy white cotton shirt are rolled to his elbows. Laces from his weathered leather boots dangle loosely and untied. His deep-set icy blue eyes squint in protest from the rays of sunlight, having just peeked over the horizon. He removes a straw cap from his dirty blonde hair and brushes away beads of sweat from his brow. Chores begin early on the farm. He stretches his right arm into the air, arching his back, inhaling a deep yawn. He tosses corn cobs to fat pigs as they roll around in the brown, rich mud of their pigsty. "Here, pig. Piggy, piggy. Here you go, pigs. Dang, now I know why they call you pigs." He hops off the fence and darts inside the family's spacious barn. The oaken boards are weathered and stained red. A sturdy tin roof sits atop its walls. "Hey, Maggie, what do you have for me this morning, girl?" He slides a bucket under his favorite Holstein and tugs at her udders, creating a steady stream of milk and warming his hands at the same time. He patiently transfers and distributes each full bucket of milk into several 2-gallon milk cans. "Damn it, I'm starving. Hope Mama's cooking up something good. Hurry up, Maggie, I gotta go eat." The Holstein snorts, then bellows, lifting her rear leg, then setting it back down. He sets aside 4 full milk cans marked for delivery after breakfast, a daily task he enjoys. It gives him a break from the more demanding chores around the farm. Sometimes his big sister Sophie gets to tag along, and the two talk about life and share their dreams for the future. Stanley fills a small pail to the rim with fresh milk for the breakfast table. He walks outside the barn, setting the pail on the ground, allowing himself a moment to transfer the grime from his hands onto his overalls. He gazes as wagons, tractors, horses, plows, and dozens of farmhands are hard at work, harvesting and tending to the vast, rich farm. Grasping the pail, he walks toward the family farmhouse, a sizable 2-story Dutch colonial building painted entirely white. A gray squirrel pops his head out of one of many giant shade trees surrounding the home as if to greet him or beg for food. "I don't have anything for you. Better scram or I'll turn you into breakfast." He climbs the steps to a massive porch and sets the pail next to the front door. He plops onto a weathered wooden rocker. "I need a break." He spots a green mantis crawling along one of the sturdy white pillars that line the porch. His eyes follow the insect's journey until he's distracted and refocuses his attention on the far-reaching apple orchard being harvested by dozens of farmhands. Wow, look at all those apples. 20, 30 baskets, and the trees are still full. Mama's hot apple pie, topped with vanilla ice cream. The smoky aroma of bacon fills his nostrils, triggering his gut to grumble and churn and alerting him breakfast is ready. He snatches the pail and slips through the screen door, allowing it to slam behind him. Mama cracks fresh eggs she gathered early this morning, dropping them one by one on a hot skillet. They sizzle the second they hit the iron. Here's the milk, Mama. What's for breakfast? I need food for my belly. She smiles. Wash your hands first. Then you can eat. Hey, Sophie, don't burn my bacon this time. Mama, don't let Sophie burn the bacon. Sophie wrinkles her nose and sticks out her tongue. Do what Mama told you to do. Go wash your filthy hands. There he is. Papa. Sitting at the table in his neatly pressed overalls. Always wearing that same stupid t-shirt with the torn collar. His cold blue eyes are mean and piercing. You don't want to look him directly in the eye for too long. Not if you know what's good for you. Papa isn't a particularly large man. He's of average height. But he's lean, broad-shouldered, and muscular, and he can outwork any man on the farm. Mama always said his thick chestnut mustache and square chin were handsome, but I don't see it. All I see is an angry face. Angry all the time. Unless he's going to the bar or kicking someone's ass. The good old boy of Southington, George Pulchalski, my father. Maybe he won't notice me since his face is buried in that newspaper. Stanley, sit down at the table, boy. Yes, sir. Why do I always have to sit next to him? Ha ha, Billy, you're getting more of that oatmeal on your head than in your mouth. Eat it, don't wear it. Mama, when does Billy get to sit in a regular chair? He don't look too comfortable. Billy, stop playing with your food and eat right, boy. Great. Now I got Billy hollered at. Seems like Billy gets most of the attention from Mama and Sophie. His round, soft blue eyes and rumpled white blonde hair are hard for them to resist. He's only 3, but he's a big kid. Way too big for that high chair. He can't sit still for a second. And he can't seem to find his mouth with that oatmeal. Tap, tap, tap. Stanley reaches across the table and grabs Frank's fork and whispers, Frank, stop. Frank frowns and stops tapping. 30 seconds later, tap, tap. The newspaper lowers. Papa slaps Frank in the back of the head. Put the fork on the table where it belongs. Leave it there. Frank's eyes well. He glances at Stanley. Stanley mouths the words, I told you. Papa's voice is acrid and harsh. Its deep, raspy tone makes us all want to withdraw and hide. Frank gets really nervous around Papa. He's only 2 years younger than me, but he's almost as tall. He's built solid and stout for a 10-year-old kid. His beefy thighs are held together by 2 man-sized feet. I swear his toes look like fingers. His straight nut-brown hair always seems to look a bit oily, and a few strands usually dangle in his face. 6-year-old Annie fidgets in her seat. When will breakfast be ready, Mama? Papa pounds the table with his fist. Quiet at the table. And there that is. Papa's terrifying glare. Cold, dead silence is the temperature of the room now. Annie's lower lip and chin tremble and her eyes well. She's frozen to her chair, clutching an old rag doll she loves so much. She's wearing her favorite dress. A faded yellow cotton dress Mama made just for her. Her thick, sandy brown hair is pulled tight into 2 perfectly braided pigtails. Her chubby cheeks quietly glisten with silent tears. Billy breaks the silence and wails, reaching his arms towards Mama and flexing his fingers in a grabbing motion, begging Mama to pick him up. Frank hides under the table. Sophie stares at Mama, mouth agape. She's only 15, but she bears the burden of a lot of responsibility. Papa expects so much from her. Too much. Maybe because she's the eldest. Sophie routinely keeps her long, chestnut brown hair pulled back into a tight bun. A few of the strands work their way out and hang over her cheeks. Her round olive green eyes always seem to be looking downward. She purposely wears oversized clothes, and her shoulders often droop, probably from trying to hide her developing body and large bosom. It makes her look awkward. But Sophie has the kindest heart and is the kindest, gentlest, and most thoughtful person I know. She looks out for me, and I look out for her. Papa continues to glare, his brow furrowed. He wears a tight-lipped frown. So much anger in his eyes. Where does it come from? Maybe he didn't want a family? Are we that much of a burden on him? Why are you so damn mean? Stanley's arms shake. He clenches his fists beneath the table. His throat tightens. Just leave everyone alone. Stanley glances at Mama. Her gentle eyes smile, crinkling at the corners. She presses her index finger to her lips. Shh. Mama. George's wife, Stella. Always trying to make peace with the devil, to keep the flame of his fiery temper on low, and to keep us all safe from his cruel wrath. Mama is 10 years younger than Papa. I think their marriage was arranged years ago in Poland when Mama was only 13. She keeps her full, wavy brown hair pulled back into a perfect bun. Her amber green eyes are round and doe-like and deeply set into her full, round face, a face delicate and symmetrical in its beauty. Mama is slender, even after bearing 5 kids. The daily hard work on the farm keeps her fit, or so she says. I tease her because she has to look up to talk to me now. Mama's voice is soft and pleasant. Her Polish accent is always evident, and sometimes when she prays, she chooses to pray in Polish instead of English. She's never without her silver crucifix around her neck. Mama serves Sophie, Frank, and I scrambled eggs, bacon, potato pancakes, and a tall glass of milk. She serves Annie eggs, bacon, and a slice of buttered toast. She places a plate of steak and eggs Sophie prepared earlier in front of Papa. She accidentally slams his coffee cup on the table, spilling a few drops onto his t-shirt. He grabs her arm. Suka, clean it up. Why are you so clumsy, Stella? Mama cowers, but yanks her arm away. Her brow raises and her jaw tightens. Her eyes are filled with pain and dark with anger. Is that a bruise on her left cheek? Why does she let him treat her like this? Why does she let him treat us like this? Stanley clenches his jaw, staring at his food. He grasps his fork. I swear if he touches her... Mama sits at the table and folds her hands in front of her. Lord, please bless this meal and bless our family. We thank you for all our bounty. In Jesus' name, amen. Frank clutches his fork, eyes darting between Mama and Papa. Annie plays with her food, breaking her bacon into tiny bits and mixing them with her eggs. Mama sits next to Billy, who continues to fuss and sob. His whining is getting annoying. She spoons the remaining oatmeal from his bowl into his mouth. Open up, baby cakes. Eat like a big man. Billy has so much oatmeal on his head you can barely see his hair. Sophie sits quietly, politely wiping her mouth with her napkin and occasionally glancing at Papa's steak. She spent the morning meticulously grilling Papa's steak to just the right temperature and prepared medium rare. Papa cuts into his steak. Blood squirts and runs thick across his plate, mixing with his eggs. He grabs the steak and hurls it at Sophie, hitting her in the chest, leaving a bloody stain on her white nightgown. She cries out. Her eyes always flutter when Papa frightens her.
God damn it, Sophie, I said rare, not raw. Make me another steak, girl. Rare this time.
Mama uses a napkin to wipe a trickle of blood from Papa's right temple. Sophie's eyes rapidly blink and water. She places another steak in the skillet. Mama glares at Papa, then looks away. She stands and takes a step towards Sophie, but Papa shouts,
Let her do it, Suka. She needs to learn how to cook a proper steak.
Stanley locks eyes with his father. Stop it, Papa. Leave them alone. A slap across the mouth is followed by the taste of blood.
Enough out of you, boy.
The tingling burn on his cheek ignites rage inside his heart. The fire soon dissipates at the threat of Papa's scowl. Stanley looks away. Why do I have to be so afraid of him? Sophie serves Papa the freshly cooked steak. She trembles and stands meek and quiet, hands folded in front of her, eyes still rapidly blinking. Everyone but Billy is holding their breath. Papa cuts into the steak. He bites, then chews. He nods and points to Sophie's chair. Sophie's sigh brings the air back into the room. She returns to her seat. Breakfast continues in dead silence. Papa slides his empty plate toward the center of the table.
Annie, help your mother clear the dishes. Stanley, take Sophie with you when you deliver milk this morning. Make sure you collect all the money. Frank, I want you to fill a dozen baskets of berries from the raspberry patch so your mother can make her jam.
Sophie dashes upstairs to change clothes. Annie plays with her pigtails, staring at the table for a moment, then rises and collects dirty dishes, placing them neatly by the sink. Frank slides his chair out from the table, making a god-awful screech. He bolts out the door. Chores are a welcome activity around here, just to get out from under Papa's roof and all his cruelty and the tension it brings. Stanley wipes his mouth with his sleeve. I'll be outside loading the milk cans. The old rusty radio flyer makes the milk haul a manageable chore. 4 milk cans and the wagon is loaded. Come on, Sophie. I don't want to spend all day delivering milk. Sophie steps outside and follows him. He's already started walking, pulling the wagon behind him. Hold your horses. Geez, wait up. The morning is cool and the air moist as they make their way along an old country road, headed toward their first delivery about a half-mile away. The smell of the onset of fall lingers in the air. The earthy smell of leaves on the ground mixed with the cidery scent of decaying apple. The wagon bogs as it hits several potholes along the way. They enjoy the peacefulness and openness of the farm fields surrounding them, listening to the high-pitched chirps of Carolina wrens and the intermittent knocking of a woodpecker in the distance. A soft breeze whisks across the tall grasses and bushy trees that line the well-traveled dirt road in the Ohio countryside. They look out across miles of green rolling hills and blue skies filled with an occasional fluff of white clouds. I'm really sorry Papa hit you with that steak. He's so damn mean. I wish I was grown up. I'd sock him right in the nose. It didn't hurt that bad. I just don't understand why he's always so angry with me. I always seem to upset him. Maybe he just has so much on his mind that he needs to take it out on me? Stanley stops walking. Hearing Sophie take the blame for Papa's temper doesn't sit well. No. He has no right to treat you like that. You do everything you're supposed to, and still he hurts you. It won't be like that when I grow up. I promise. I'll always take care of you. I'll stop him from hurting you. And Mama. For good. Well, good morning, Stanley. Good morning, Sophie. How's your mama? Sophie smiles. She's doing very well, Mrs. Winfield. Thank you. Stanley lifts a milk can from the wagon and empties some of the contents into the Winfield's billy can, sitting on the front porch. Wow, Stanley, you are growing into such a strong young man. Here you go. He pockets 2 quarters.
Here are 2 extra nickels for the both of you.
Sophie's eyes beam. Tips go into the other pocket. They continue on their route, working their way along the road to the next stop. Stanley examines the nickels.
Hey, one of these is a Liberty nickel. See, look at the V on the back. That's swell. We need to add them all to our stash under the old rock back home. How much money do you think we have?
I figure around $7 or $8. We can never let Papa know we have it, Soph, or that cheap old bastard will take it all. What are you going to do with your share? Donate it to me?
No.
Sophie pauses and speaks in a softer tone.
Don't laugh. I really want to be a nurse someday. I want to help people. So I'm going to use my half to go to nursing school. How about you, little brother? What do you want to do?
She glances at the holes in the knees of his pant legs.
Maybe you should consider buying some new overalls.
He glances at his overalls and frowns, then glances at Sophie.
Very funny.
Stanley steers the wagon to avoid a small pothole in the road.
I don't know. I think I want my own farm. I don't want to work for Papa all my life. I want to work with my hands. Build stuff, you know? Make lots of money, so I can take care of you and Mama and everyone. You all can come live with me. We'll get away from Papa for good. Leave that old bastard to drink himself to death.
Another extra dime from the Johnson farm, and 2 more nickels from Mr. Patterson. Time to turn the wagon around. Stanley grins. His eyes suspiciously glint.
Get in, I'll pull you.
Sophie crosses her arms, slightly shaking her head.
I don't trust you. Last time you hit every pothole on purpose. Nope, I'll walk, thank you. Oh, come on. That was an accident. You can trust me. Sure it was. Forget it. Hey, let's head over to the cornfield and count our stash.
The cornfield has grown tall. Plump ears dangle from its thick stalks. This part of the field has yet to be harvested.
There it is.
Stanley turns over a flat gray sandstone about the width of a frying pan. He pulls a small leather pouch from a hole in the ground beneath the stone. The leather is cracked and dry, and the pouch sealed by a drawstring.
Count it. How much do we have?
Stanley pours the coins onto the flat stone, separating them into piles of similar denominations.
$9.45.
He returns the coins to the pouch and places the pouch in its original hiding place under the rock. Sophie hugs him.
Ah, get off me.
They continue to make their way back to the farmhouse where Stanley parks the wagon. The heavy rusted handle of the well pump squeals and rumbles, sucking ice-cold water from a well deep within the earth, up through pipes, and out of a large iron faucet. The cold water is a shock at first, but it washes away the sweat and grime from his blond head.
Ah, that feels good.
The frigid water quenches an arid thirst, leaving a dull ache in the back of his throat and a light throb in his temples.
So cold, but damn good. Ahem.
Sophie stands behind him, arms crossed, tapping her foot.
Save some of that for me. Move.
She shoves Stanley aside. Papa stands on the porch, dressed in pressed, high-waisted tan suit pants, a crisp white long-sleeved shirt and vest. He's headed to town again. Stanley shakes his head.
Why doesn't he put his jacket on instead of carrying it on his arm? He thinks he's an important politician or something, the way he acts. Ah, rats. He spotted us.
Stanley! Sophie! Come here!
They hurry to reach the porch. Sophie snuggles next to Mama on a large porch swing. Mama places Billy in Sophie's lap. Frank sits on the porch floor next to the porch swing. Annie rocks back and forth in the old rocker, fiddling with her dress. She's still clutching that silly rag doll. The best view of all, though, is right here on the porch rail.
Here comes the speech. before he goes to town to get drunk.
Attend to your chores today. No excuses. Be thankful for the roof over your head and the food I put on my table.
Papa eyeballs Mama. That wicked glint in his eye always fills the air with tension.
Wife, handle the farm hands and let me know if anyone slacks on their work. Clean my house before I return. I better not come back and find everything a mess.
Papa beams as he looks out across his farm fields. He juts his chin. There's a twinkle in his eye as he watches his farmhands busy at work. Placing a derby on his head, he steps off the porch and drives away in his 1919 Royal automobile. No doubt he's headed to his favorite local speakeasy, the Vine. We have to tie the stacks of hay bales together by weaving them crisscross like this to keep them from falling over. Grab the wires like this and use your knee to help throw it on top of the stack. You got all that, Frank? Give it a try. Put your fat ass into it. Frank grips a hay bale by the wires, and using his leg, he attempts to swing it to the top of the stack. Whoa! That was close. Ha! Nice try. Get up off your butt and try again. The sound of an automobile approaching creates a churn of uneasiness in Stanley's stomach. What? He's already drunk? He's only been gone a couple hours. The inside of the open barn door frames the scene. Papa staggers toward the house. Frank, we'll finish this later. Go play with Annie, okay? Sophie fills feed bags with oats for the horses. Frank and Annie slip and slide in the mud by the water pump. They all stop what they're doing and freeze when they see Papa approach. Please, just pass out today. Just go inside and pass out. Upstairs, Mama puts Billy down for a nap. She pauses when she hears the front door squeak, then slam shut. Dirty dishes from breakfast sit piled by the sink. There wasn't enough time to get to them. Dried oatmeal is stuck to the floor and to Billy's high chair. Toys are scattered around the living room floor. He steps on one.
Stella!
An icy chill travels up her spine. She lays Billy in his bed and closes his bedroom door behind her. Papa stands in the living room with fists clenched. His brow is furrowed, and his eyes are dark. His jaw is tight and veins swell on his neck. He glares up the stairs at her, a menacing glare she is all too familiar with. Nowhere to run. Push past him. Run for the door. He grabs her by the wrist. Whiskey, cigar smoke, and stale perfume reek from his breath and his clothes. Let me go. Get away from me. She can't breathe. The pressure on her neck is too great.
Don't ever talk to me like that, bitch. You're not even good enough to wipe the shit off my shoes.
Fingers dig into her shoulders. He shoves her. She stumbles backward, slamming her head onto the hard wooden floor. A white flash and a loud ring follow a throbbing ache in the back of her skull. The room is blurry. Her heart races. I'm sorry. Please don't hurt me, George. A blow crushes her ribcage. She gasps for a breath, moaning. He yanks her hair, lifting her off her feet. Her scalp burns. She attempts to grip her hair to prevent it from being ripped out of her head.
You want more of this?
Everything is surreal. She hears herself scream. The warmth of adrenaline courses through her veins. She kicks and flails her arms, digging her nails deep into the flesh of his forearm. Sophie rushes into the house. Leave her alone! Papa allows Mama to fall to the floor. He grabs Sophie by the hair, dismantling her neatly groomed bun and yanking her towards him. He slaps her repeatedly. She cries and winces. Blood runs down her face and into her mouth.
You don't know what's good for you, butting in where you don't belong.
He hit her again and again.
How do you like that? You like it? Do you?
Sophie hits the floor in a thud.
She curls into a ball, but she can't protect herself from the kicks to her back, each blow pounding her ribcage. Stella punches and scratches at George's back. "Don't touch her!" Solid knuckles smash into her cheekbone. She stumbles backward and collapses to the floor in a heap. Sounds echo and fade as she tries to reach for Sophie. She can't make herself move, can't make herself do anything. Everything turns black. Sophie attempts to run out the door, but he grabs her, ripping her dress and exposing her large breasts. She desperately attempts to cover herself. The sight of Sophie's exposed bosom sets Papa into a rage. He slaps her in the face, then lifts her and slams her into the sofa.
"You think those bubs are going to save you? You're going to have some sweaty, pimple-faced boy touching you?"
Sophie cowers on the couch. He fumbles with the buckle of his leather belt.
"No, Papa, no!"
Sophie flinches from vicious lashes to her face and body. His curses become muffled. All she can do is curl into a ball, make herself as small as she can. Papa wears down and stands over them, breathing heavy, sweat pouring from his reddened face. He slides his belt through the loops in his trousers and walks toward the front door. Stanley blocks the doorway.
"Get away from them!"
He grips the wooden handle of a spade, visibly shaking. He heaves a breath, ready for what comes next.
"Put it down, boy. Put it down, or you'll get the same."
Backing down the porch steps, Stanley's throat tightens. His heart pounds. His grip begins to slip from beads of sweat forming on his palms. Papa lunges. Stanley's grip on the handle gives way. The spade flies harmlessly through the air. Papa's open hands slam into his chest with a powerful shove. He can only watch as Papa steps over him. Sophie covers her breasts, tucking the torn material of her dress into her bra. She crawls to reach Mama. Mama isn't moving.
"Wake up, please. Mama, please. Wake up."
Sophie's muffled voice calls to her from a distance. Shades of light and dark swirl in front of her eyes, eventually coming into focus and forming the face of her terrified daughter. A face swollen and bruised with welts. Her left eye bloodshot, blood congealing on her upper lip. The horrific sight causes Mama to weep. Frank and Annie stand covered in mud, frozen with fear and hugging each other. They watch as Papa's automobile disappears into the countryside.
"Come on, Annie."
The screen door creaks. Mama flinches from the sound, then sighs.
"Come here, children."
Covered in patches of wet and dry mud, they rush to her side. Billy stands atop the stairwell, crying.
"Come here, Billy. Come to Mama."
He waddles his way down the stairs, whimpering and clutching a teddy bear.
Frank, Annie, and Billy sit on the floor next to Mama and Sophie. Mama's arms tremble with pain as she attempts to cradle them. The beatings are happening more often now, and with greater ferocity. Sophie has become a main target, just like Mama. Why can't I stop this? Mama lifts herself from the floor and helps Sophie to her feet. A wave of nausea overcomes her after seeing the full extent of Sophie's injuries. They make their way into the kitchen. Mama splashes water onto her own face, then uses a wet towel to dab the blood off of Sophie's face. "I promise you will never have to go through that again, my sweet girl. I'm so sorry." Mama points to the front door with a trembling hand. "Frank, take Annie outside and the two of you wash off by the well pump. Leave your clothes out there."
Sophie whispers,
"Mommy."
She buries her face in her mother's bosom, wishing she could be small again, wishing to be safe in her mother's arms. With Billy on her hip, Mama takes Sophie by the hand and leads her upstairs.
"Change into another dress."
She pulls a small valise out of a closet and packs it full of her daughter's belongings. Mama cradles Sophie's face, her hands still shaking.
I'm taking you to Aunt Mary's in Lisbon for a few days.
Sophie nods. Mama's words carry hope and encouragement, even in the face of such horror.
Mama, what about you and Annie and the boys? Shouldn't you leave too? He's getting worse. What if he starts hurting them too? We'll leave soon enough. For now, we have to get you out of here. I'm afraid of what he might do next. You'll be safe at Aunt Mary's. He can't hurt you there.
Mama and Sophie cautiously peek outside.
Billy, go with Frank and Annie.
Billy toddles his way over to the water pump. Stanley sits on the porch railing, sobbing.
Mama, I couldn't protect you and Sophie. I tried. I'm sorry.
Tears roll off his cheeks.
I'm not big enough. When I'm a man, I'll beat the tar out of him. I promise.
His eyes lower.
Why am I so afraid of him?
Mama does her best to place her battered arms around him.
It's okay, son. Stay here and take care of Annie and the boys. I'm taking Sophie to Lisbon to stay with Aunt Mary for a few days. I'll be back soon.
Powerless to do anything, he wipes his eyes and hugs them both.
Be careful, Mama.
Mama grabs the valise and takes Sophie by the hand. They lean on each other as they walk along the dirt road to the bus station. They struggle with each step, fighting through immense pain and dizziness. The bus station is a mile away from the farm. It may as well be 25 miles away. They'll have to pass the vine along the way.
Mama, what if he's there? At the vine? What if he sees us?
Stanley watches from the road, helpless as Mama and Sophie fade into the distance. Tears well in his icy blue eyes, creating tiny streams of mud along his dirty cheeks. Grief crushes his soul like a sledgehammer pulverizing stone into sand.
This is author Kevin D. Miller. Thank you for listening to Chapter 1 of my novel, Heart of Steel, based on a true story. The full audiobook is available for purchase on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. Heart of Steel is also available in paperback and ebook. Visit my website for links to purchase. And while you're there, check out all my latest news. My website is authorkevinmiller.com. That's authorkevinmiller.com. My grandfather's story, Heart of Steel, is in the process of becoming a feature film. Visit my website to stay current with the news and information. Again, the website is authorkevinmiller.com. Thank you.